हेलो एंड वेलकम टू कॉम्पिटोलॉजी एकेडमी। और आज हम लोग डिस्कस करने वाले हैं कि जो G20 में जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स बन रहे हैं या फिर उसमें जो भी वर्ड्स यूज हुए हैं उसमें जो whatever the issues is with the use of Sanskrit phrase and how does China has got infuriated out of that. So here the basic thing is that China is targeting India. China is miffed at India due to the use of Sanskrit phrase in the G20 document at various stages. And this is not the new thing because since long time ago, around since the 2018 or 19, China is targeting India specifically due to various factors, and some of them are economic, some of them are regional politics, and some of them are related to world politics even, right? So here China is targeting India and they are not leaving any of the opportunity in which they can target India, right? So here what is the issue? Here first the issue is that they say that the inclusion of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the renowned phrase that has been taken from the Upanishad, and that is a philosophy of Indian politics, the world politics that India practices, the foreign policy that India practices, right? So here what has happened, this Vasudeva Kutumbakam has become a new issue with China. And how does it has become a new issue? Why China is miffed at this? So basically this means that the world is one family. So all the population, the complete population of the world are related to each other. They are a family, so they should live with peace with each other, right? So here they are miffed at this, as well as they are also miffed at inclusion of this word in the official documents also. So basically this word, this theme has been included in the G20 logo, as well as the complete the G20 presidency theme is based on this, that India practices, that is Vasudevam Kutumbakam. And in all the official documents of G20 this theme is being used, and because of that China is miffed. And what does China claim? Why does China is opposing this? What are the claims for behind which it is backing its opposition to use of these words? So here what it says, that it is a Sanskrit word, and Sanskrit is not one of the 6 official languages recognized by the United Nations. So about this official language of United Nations and other things we will discuss in the last slide, because it is also an important topic, that why does China brag for this. Basically Chinese language is also an official language of United Nations, and that is why China thinks that it is superior than India, and neither Hindi nor Sanskrit is the official language of United Nations, right? So here one argument is this, that Sanskrit is not an official language of United Nations, and because of that the G20 document cannot use this language. So it should be in English or any of the language which is recognized by the United Nations. But first of all, the G20 is not a part of or not associated in any way with the United Nations. So it is not mandatory that the G20 should follow the norms of the United Nations. It is not necessary at all, right? So here, however, China argued that the G20 documents could not use the term Vasudevam Kutumbakam in the official text, as it is in Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is not a official language of the United Nations. But does it make sense? Because G20 is not associated with the United Nations in any way. It is a multilateral, multinational organization which was cropped up in 1998 by few nations as G7. Later on, it was made G20, and thereafter, since 2008, economic crisis. Basically, this G20 was established to avert any of the economic crisis throughout the world, because it represents 60% of the population of the world, right? So they were of the view that we should avert any of the economic crisis, and for that matter, continuous discussion, deliberation, and cooperation is needed. So for that matter, the G20 was cropped up, it was instituted, and since 2009, they are meeting on a regular basis, and they convene the summits every year. This time it is going to be conducted in Goa, and here, for that matter, it is not associated with the United Nations, and that is why none of the terms and conditions, rules and regulations, or the norms are applicable on the G20, right? So here, the stand of the other member nations, like 19 other many nations, in fact the European Commission is also a member of G20. So what was the stand of the other nations who are the member of G20? So it again becomes important to discuss, right? So here, most of the nations, most not, in fact all the nations, sided with India. And what was their argument? Why does they sided with India? So they said that deciding the theme of the G20 event is the prerogative of the presidency and the host nation. So the theme, the other things, what would be the discussion matter, issues, topics, logos, these things will be decided by the host nation, by the presiding nation, and it is their sole prerogative, and we cannot intervene in it. So they sided with India, and this infuriated China a bit more. But why does China is doing so? And what was India's stand on this? So first of all, what India did, the outcome document and the chair's summary only carried the English translation that we have already seen in the thumbnail, right? So that was the English translation that was used in the official document, outcome document, and chair's summary in July. But it was retained in the logo and letterhead of each document. So India also did a bit of the tricky thing. बोले ठीक है भाई, हम लोग इसको हटा देते हैं ऑफिशियल डॉक्यूमेंट से, जो आउटकम डॉक्यूमेंट है और जो समरी है हमारा, बट इट विल रिमेन एज इट इज इन द लोगो एंड द लेटर हेड ऑफ द डॉक्यूमेंट, बिकॉज इट इज द थीम, it is a part of logo, so it will remain as it is. So India just took the madhyam marg, right? And here, what was the theme? We, the G20 energy ministers, met under India's G20 presidency with the theme One Earth, One Family, One Future in Goa, India, on 22nd July 2023. So this English translation was used. However, the logo and the letterhead carried the Vasudevam Kutumbakam also, but in the document, the chair summary and the outcome document, it was used this one nation, one earth, one family, one future, right? So India did a bit of tricky thing. Now come to the official language of United Nations. So what is the official language? Which 6 languages are the official language? So here basically, if you see the chart, then you will understand that all the UN Security Council's permanent member had their language as the official language of the, in fact they have at present also, they have their language as the official language of United Nations. When the League of the Nations was established, at that very time, the English and the French was the official language of League of Nations, right? But even after the existence of League of Nations, the Second World War happened, and due to that, the United Nations came into existence. So there, Spanish was also a language, and Spanish is a language which is since the establishment of League of Nations, because Spanish is also a widely spoken language in Latin America and many of the African and European countries, right? Thereafter, after the establishment, after the formation of the United Nations, Russia and Chinese, these two languages were included as the official language. At first, they had been included as the language of discussion. Thereafter, the language of working and language as a official language. These two languages were included in 1970s, right? 1970s. Thereafter, again, the Arabic language was included as the official language in 1973. Thereafter, many of the languages are here which are used to present the document in the translated form, right? So the UN documents are available in the translated form in these languages, these four languages, that is Portuguese, Swahili, Hindi, and Urdu. So these four languages are the languages in which the UN documents are translated, and those are available on the website. So this is the issue, and that is why this is the reason why China brags that India cannot use Sanskrit phrase in the G20 documents and the logo, because it is not a United Nations recognized language, that is the official language of the UN. But does it mean that in the international forums, in the international transactions or day-to-day communication of the international organizations, only the UN recognized languages can be used? Is it mandatory? So nowhere it is mandatory, as well as the G20 is not an organization which is related to United Nations, and there is nothing like that that can impose the rules and regulations of the United Nations, the terms and conditions of the United Nations on G20. It is nothing like that, right? So here, why China is doing so? Why China is so much infuriated, and why China is running behind India? हमेशा देख रहे हैं, कुछ ना कुछ करते रह रहे हैं. So basically, during the BRICS summit also, the foreign minister of China had tried to convince Indian foreign minister to let the investments from China to come to India, because most of the investments are blocked from China due to various reasons, whether it is geopolitics, whether it is internal issues, whether it is security issues, whether it is data related issues. So various things are there. So here the first thing is that the investment issue, Chinese companies and Chinese firms are unable to invest in India. There are various issues, like we have seen the Great Wall issue, MG Motors issue, thereafter that of BYD issue, thereafter MI Mobile issue. So various things are there, because of which these investment issues are there in between India and China, and because of that China is boiling. They are infuriated on India. Thereafter, import curbs. Many of the anti-dumping duties are being used by India on Chinese companies due to their practice of dumping the low-cost products in India, as well as low-quality products, or even like the security issues related to the mobile phones, because of which India imposes the curbs, the import curbs on the Chinese products. So again, this is a big issue with China. Like if we see the mobile issue, right? So during the 2015, only around 8 to 9% of the mobiles, and also they were the knockdown CKD units, completely knockdown units. So they were being imported in India, and they were just being assembled in India. And even today, that is the thing what is going on, right? But After that, what happened? The Indian government imposed too much of the import duties on the completely built unit CBUs, as well as other import restrictions were imposed on the Chinese mobile companies. First of all, it was experiment on Chinese mobile. Now it is going to be imposed on various other electronic goods like laptops, tablets, etc. from 1st of November, right? So here, this import curbs is again a issue because of which China is infuriated, it is miffed, and that is why they are running behind India to encircle India on any of the issue in which they can do it, right? Next, the apps ban. More than 200 apps of Chinese origin have been banned in India. Next, the LSC standoff. As we all know that the standoff is going on LSC, whether it is in the Ladakh region or whether it is in the Arunachal Pradesh region. Next, the supremacy issue. China was thinking that it will become a world superpower, and though nobody will be in their path due using the BRI route and the other things, worldwide investments. So this supremacy is again being challenged by India, which infuriates China. And that is why the Chinese government is behind India. Next is increasing influence of India in the world politics. Nowadays, even the Russia-Ukraine war is being discussed with the Indian PM. Many of the world political leaders are meeting the Indian Prime Minister, are trying to convince the Indian Prime Minister to do something to stop the Ukraine-Russia war, as well as the Indian links, the link of Indian government with Taiwan is again a issue. So there are various other issues like this in the world politics also, Quad issue, that issue with the CPEC and the other things, because of which China is infuriated with India, and that is why China always tries to encircle India, tries to demean India in any way it can. And now they are doing these things on the frivolous ground of Sanskrit language. That Sanskrit is not a UN recognized language, not a official language of United Nations. So it cannot be used in the G20 document. What a kind of thing, right? So it is laughable. However, here we end our discussion. So it is going to be an important topic from the point of view of international affairs. So go through these things deliberately and with the depth, so that you will be in position to answer the questions. And if you have watched the video till then please consider subscribing the channel, as well as press the bell icon to get notified whenever we come live or we upload the new videos, right? And you can also follow us on our Facebook and Instagram handle. This is our Telegram channel, from where you will get the PDF of these videos, current affair videos and other things. And here on Google Play you will find our app. The link is provided in the description below. You can download the app from there, and you can use the resources that are available free of cost on our app, right? And the same resources are available on our website also. So here we finish off our discussion. Thank you very much and have a nice day.